So is he real?
Who?
The boogeyman. I read you quoted.
You don't believe in the boogeyman?
I believe in Michael Myers, a deranged serial killer, but the boogeyman.
Well, you should.
Welcome, creeps, to another episode of Brain Stew.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Another episode in our special Halloween series, a countdown to Halloween Kills.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. Yeah, so this episode is a surprise. We haven't announced what it is or anything like that. But before we get to anything about what the episode is, Jeremy.
Yo.
I think everyone knows who we are by now. Do we really need to say our names every episode? Do we need to introduce ourselves? Well, if we do, I'm Justin, and I already said his name.
My name's Kid Rock.
Okay.
That's Jeremy.
It's
Jeremy.
I don't see any rebel flags behind you. Or anything.
Thank God, man.
Fuck. But yeah, so upon this recording date, we are going to be talking more Halloween and a brand new, the final trailer for Halloween Kills landed on social media and YouTube and all over the fucking world and made waves today, as of this recording.
Ugh.
And I didn't watch it.
Same. However, that did not stop the collective internet for spoiling the shit out of it, even if you didn't watch it.
Very correct. I recall texting you, like, when I went to the gym at lunch, I was like, I'm doing everything that I possibly can to not watch the trailer. Only because everyone's reaction was, goosebumps! Oh my god, I jizzed my pants over this trailer, man! I'm like, I can wait a few more weeks.
Or
right?
it was people that they showed the whole movie in the trailer. Yeah. So I was like, oh, well, I fucking definitely don't want to watch that then.
That's the case. But what you had texted me later on and was like, dude, be careful. Social media, people are posting spoiler images.
Screenshots, yeah.
Yeah, and 5 minutes after you texted me that, I saw 2.
Yeah.
Film Twitter, you know, the horror community on Twitter as well. You fucking suck, man. I know you're all excited, okay? And post freely, you know? I squirt it freely, but
I blame the movie studio, though, too. Like, why the fuck would you put some of those things in the trailer? There's one thing specifically that got spoiled for me. Of course, I'm not going to spoil it on the show, but the image that I saw, I'm like, dude, you should have saved that for when people see the movie, not in the trailer. Why would you spoil that for fans? Like, that was a big one. So, like, I don't know, man. I really, in Blumhouse, man, this is not the first time they've done this with their trailers. You know, their Black Christmas remake, which I never saw, had no interest in it. You didn't need to see it because the entire movie was shown in the trailer.
That is a subject. That title, Jeremy, is never to be spoken about on this show again. Those that have listened to our review are fully aware that if they could see my face while discussing it, it was very red, inflamed, and my balls were about to burst. No. But yeah, you are correct in saying so, but I'm going to do my best, man. It is very difficult navigating through social media without trying to, you know, hey, I just saw another image from the trailer, but I'm excited. And we know everyone else is excited.
Yeah, hell yeah,
so,
dude.
I mean, it is what it is. I'm sure the trailer's great, and I'm sure 90% of what's in that trailer that's getting people so excited will be in the movie. Because we know sometimes trailers show shit that doesn't ever end up making the cut in the movie. And they're like, oh, look at that. That scene's so cool. Look at that. And then it never happens.
That happened with Halloween 2018. There was some stuff that was in the trailer for that film that wasn't in the actual film because they went back and reshot that ending.
Yeah. That's very correct. But moving on here, I got to say, I can't start off here, Jeremy, without pounding back some sugar. So the Halloween guy that I am, in terms of the movies and the season, my favorite thing in the entire world, I indulge in, regardless of my healthy habits, my normal healthy habits, I indulge in novelty Halloween junk food. And Mountain Dew VooDew is no exception. It is the limited edition 2021 version. For those unfamiliar, they put it out every year. It's supposed to be a mystery flavor. The colors of the labels hint at what it is. But, spoiler alert, the last 2 years, they both tasted like Skittles. So, last year was Skittles and tasted like Skittles. I don't know if Mountain Dew just said, fuck it, everyone thought the first one tasted like it, let's just make it that the second time. Because the first time was supposed to be candy corn. So I'm going to drink this on the air live now, ladies and gentlemen, and tell you what I think this shit is.
It's a mystery.
Okay, so...
How's it smell, Justin?
It smells sweet, like pure heaven. Also, like I'm going to have a stomach ache and probably take a massive, disgusting shit in the middle of the night because I don't usually drink stuff like this. But Halloween, again, it's that time of year where I just kind of indulge, and I might actually mix this with some booze in a little bit.
Do it now.
We'll see, but here we go. Here it is. I should insert that Three Stooges guzzling sound effect. They're like, go, go, go. I can tell you right off the bat what I think it is. The smell gives it away. They nailed it. Dude, it's Sweet Tarts.
Yeah?
100%. It's fucking Sweet Tarts.
I'm not a big Mountain Dew guy, but I feel like, I don't know, I'd be down for a Sweet Tart flavored beverage.
I don't know if I can drink the entire thing.
Gotcha.
I mean, I'm definitely going to, be adventurous because we're talking Halloween shit tonight.
Dude,
I'll mix it with some liquor.
There you go.
And see how that tastes.
I've got a freaking life hack for our listeners and for you regarding some Halloween treats. Dude, and like my mom showed me this last week and it blew my fucking mind. Take a handful of candy corn and a handful of peanuts and mix them together, toss them in your mouth.
No way.
It's a fucking payday bar. It's a payday bar. That's exactly what the ingredients are, is candy corn and peanuts is a payday bar.
If our listeners could possibly see how wide my eyes are right now, this is happening tomorrow. I'm going to do. I grew up eating those, and I'm also one of those. I fucking love candy corn.
Same.
Y'all haters out there, come on.
Same. But yeah, seriously, we were at my kid's soccer game. My mom had a bag, and it had candy corn and peanuts, and I was like, what is that? She was like, oh, take a handful. And I did, and she was like, what is that? And I was like, holy shit, it's a payday bar. She was like, exactly. I was like, wow, this is incredible.
Take a chance, people. We challenge you. All of you listening, go do it.
Yeah, man.
Even if you don't like candy corn, go try it and see what happens.
Yeah.
But before I forget, I need to make sure that I remind our listeners, if you haven't listened to the last 2 episodes, on the subject of Halloween Kills, we are still in the midst of our Halloween Kills poster giveaway. We've gotten a lot of great reviews from y'all. You've been fucking amazing in regards to shooting us some new reviews. We are giving away full-size theatrical Halloween Kills posters. For every 5 new iTunes reviews we receive, another winner will be drawn. And Jeremy,
Yo.
we had a winner already.
Yeah,
their poster is on the way.
Sweet.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Derek Troxel. So congratulations to Derek.
Dude, I have to tell you, man, I went to CT Horror Fest this past weekend, Connecticut Horror Fest.
That's right.
Yeah, and somebody was selling an original double-sided Halloween Kills poster for $250. That's how much these things are going for right now, man.
I can't believe they would sell it for that much.
Dude, that's what people are paying for it because the studio hasn't mass-produced them and provided them for sale to the general public yet. They've typically just been, to movie theaters and such. So Universal gifted us these, which is why we're doing this amazing poster giveaway. So right now, these are a hot commodity, especially if you would, if you're an autograph collector and you're going to a convention that James Jude Courtney is at or Nick Castle is at. It's a beautiful poster to get signed. I have one, and I got it signed by James Jude Courtney a few days ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, dude.
Awesome, dude.
I gotta send you a picture of it, and in the it's even though it's his jumpsuit, it's in a dark area on him on the poster. James spanked that signature, man, with a beautiful silver broad deco paint pen, and Oh man, it looks amazing. Funny enough, I told him the story about, how at his first convention appearance, he took the picture of me with my freaking, my little mobile cart that had all my poster tubes in it.
Your fucking stroller with all the poster tubes.
My stroller with all the poster tubes. And I told him, I was like, man, you shared this picture on your social media and it got like a bajillion likes and comments. And I said, and realistically, you were just showcasing how nerdy I am to the entire planet. He laughed. Me and him both laughed so hard about it that he was like, dude, seriously, like the picture that we're about to take right now together, he was like, tag me in a post with a screenshot of the original post that I made and the picture from today. So I did. So we both got a good little kick out of that.
I remember like when that picture was posted of you standing in line or whatever. I didn't see it from you. I saw it from him. And I was showing it to Danielle and laughing the fuck out loud. I'm like, dude, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Look at him.
Out of all the times he could have taken a picture of the crowd, it was when I was right in front of him looking so stressed.
Yeah. And you looked like a guy with a gigantic stroller with a million poster tubes.
Not a baby in it, but just my paper babies.
Your side babies.
Yeah.
Your side babies. But so, yeah, you went to this con. And how was it?
Dude, so speaking of a 2-day convention, so when I went to H40, it was a 2-day convention. I had never heard of a 2-day convention before. Well, CT Horror Fest blew my mind because they did a 1-day only convention, which I was like, man, that's really insane. That's like quite a spectacle too, man. You got to get all of these things to go right in one day without a hitch, because you get one shot. There's no like, oh, well, we corrected these things on day 2. This is, you get one shot. So, my buddy Jeremiah came, I picked him up. He went with me and he was like, why are we leaving so early? And I was like, dude, like, we got to get there early, man, because this is a 1-day only convention. And he was like, nah, man, I think it'll be all right. And I was like, no, dude, I'm calling it. It's going to be insane. So literally we pulled up and it was 2 hours before the doors even opened and the line was already like wrapping around the building almost. And I was like, see? And he was like, shit, you were right. So we get there and I'm like, it's hot still, right? So it's like we're standing out in the sun and all of a sudden, we had fucking McDonald's breakfast. So we're standing there in the sun. I'm sweating. And then all of a sudden, my stomach was like, and I was like, oh no, dude, I got to take that mix shit. So I like ran up the stairs and there was like a freaking bodyguard bouncer type dude at the door. And I was like, hey man, I know the doors don't open for like an hour and 45 minutes, but literally I'm about to shit my pants. Can I please come in and use the bathroom? And he was like, yeah, man. He was like, go up to the 3rd floor, because he didn't want me to use the bathroom on the main floor because I would have been walking through the convention area. So he was like, just go up the stairs to the 3rd floor and there's a bathroom. So I'm like, all right. So this building was like, it was called a convention center, but like it was just this old fucking weird building, man. It looked more like an office building. I mean, like the ground level for sure. It's like, okay, like I could see convention status, but like, dude, so I go up a flight of stairs. Or a couple flights of stairs, dude. I lost track of. I had to shit so bad. I lost track of which floor I was on.
How many floors you've gone up already?
So I see a door and I'm like, oh, the bathroom's probably through here. I open the door and literally all of the celebrities were in there drinking coffee, eating breakfast. And when I opened the door, everyone stopped and looked right at me like, dude, I looked at Skeet Ulrich from Scream, like dead ass in the eyes. And I looked around the room and I went, all right, yep, this is the wrong room. Have a good morning. And I just shut the door. And I was like, what the fuck? So then I go up another flight of stairs. Well, like an idiot, I'm not paying attention how many flights I've gone up again. I go up another one. So accidentally I'm on the 4th floor. Dude, this building must be so fucking old that they don't use the 4th floor. It looked like a 90s horror film office building thing. Like, dude, there was pieces of the ceiling missing. Most of the lights weren't working. One of the lights was flickering. There was like literally like debris and like rubble all over the floor. And I was like, all right, I don't care if the bathroom is through here. Like, I'm not going through here. I've seen enough horror films to know how this is going to end. Like, this is going to be one of those movies, where I can never find my way out and creepy shit just keeps happening, So anyway, so I finally go downstairs and I'm in the bathroom and I'm dropping some deuces wild, man, some straight Steven Dorff, and and so I get done doing my business, right, and literally like as I'm walking out of the bathroom, I see James Jude Courtney going into the bathroom.
The Shape's going to take a shit.
Dude, I was like, yo, it's the Shape versus the Stank, because he is in for it. So I was like, man, if we don't see him at his table later, I think I know why. But yeah, it was good, man. It was I was awake for 24 hours straight going to that show. I left at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I got home at like 12:30 that night, and I didn't go to bed till like 1:30. So it was a long day, man.
Sounds like a blast, but just gonna say, I'm glad I didn't go with you for that one. I can't. I'm too old for that shit. I really can't. I can't. I don't think my body can withstand that kind of shit.
Dude, I'm still feeling it today, man, and it was a few days ago.
Well, hey, man, you got to endure the pain for your pleasure. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to embark on another Halloween countdown episode here. And before we get to it, we're going to hear some words from our sponsor, Evil Tea. And of course, in the beginning of this countdown, we're going to preface this countdown. It's very special. We had to do this, kind of work it a weird way in order for it to work for us.
Yep.
So we'll explain that when we get there. But so super excited about this. More Halloween goodness for your fucking eardrums. So another promo break, and when we come back, top 10 characters of the Halloween series. We'll be right back.
The Brain Stew podcast is fueled by our sponsor, Evil Tea, by the Evil Tea Company. Steeped in darkness, Evil Tea brings a sharp and spooky variety of tea flavors, featuring robust and creative blends for all those tea monsters out there. Use promo code BRAINSTEW for 15% off your first order. Check out their website at evilteacompany.com to find the right blend for you.
And welcome back to Brain Stew. We are doing the top 10 favorite characters of the Halloween franchise. So we had to do this a little different, right, Justin? Like, we couldn't just do, like, top 10 favorite characters, right? Because, of course, it would be, well, Dr. Loomis, it would be Laurie Strode, it would be Jamie Lloyd, blah, blah, blah. So we were like, that's kind of unfair. So the rule that me and Justin set for ourselves is it couldn't be the main characters. It had to essentially be supporting characters, which was tough, man. It was tough, and some of my choices, much like when we did our top 10 favorite kills of the franchise, some of my choices even surprised me once I started analyzing the entire franchise. I'm like, okay, well, if I'm not choosing the main character, who am I choosing? And like I said, man, some of these surprised me that I was like, they really made me think and analyze each film and the characters in each film. And man, this franchise is just riddled with some great supporting characters throughout. So I'm going to kick it off right now, man. Number 10, I'm going with Julian from Halloween 2018. Holy shit, was this kid a absolute scene stealer, man. Every moment this kid was on stage was absolute hilarity. He had a charisma that was all his own. I mean, Alakazam, I know you talking about smoking some weed. Like, dude.
The audiences, when the movie came out in theaters, people were just roaring at that kid. He was just had so much charisma.
Yeah, man, his lines were great. You could tell that, man, either, this kid has fantastic comedy chops and did a lot of great ad-libbing, or Danny McBride and company were just feeding him. I mean, it felt like some Danny McBride vibes, right? And he's like, if you was a good babysitter, you'd be upstairs reading me a story and I wouldn't be here just cutting my nasty ass toenails. Like, dude, so much good stuff. I loved that kid. Don't go up there, Dave. If you go up there, you're going to die. Or, even send Dave up. Dude, he was just fantastic and literally stole every scene that he was in. I met him at a Monster Mania. It was like him and his dad there. And, I mean, dude, even the kid to be honest, it felt weird getting a kid's autograph, right? Like, that was something that, you know, outside of, you know, the It cast members, which were kind of teenagers by the time that I got their autographs, like, it felt weird getting a child's signature, but
a very young child at that too.
Yeah,
right?
man, it was weird. Like, I have this cast signed poster, and he was there, and he was one of my favorite characters. So I was like, dude, I gotta get him, but this is weird. And I'm just happy that, you know, he signed my poster well, because, you know, his name is Jabrail, in real life, and, you know, he signed my poster Jabrail, right? Great. My buddy's poster, he signed it Julian. He didn't even sign his real name. He signed it the character's name. So my buddy walked away and was like, I don't think he even noticed it until we were, like, in the car going home. He was like, oh, shit. He only wrote his character name on it. So I was like, oh, at least mine didn't get fucked up like that. But, yeah, that's my number 10, man. I loved this kid. I hope he's in the next one. I haven't really gone down the rabbit hole of checking out the IMDb, and I've avoided most of the trailers for this. So I don't know if he's going to be in this.
You're a good fan, Jeremy. Yeah. That's a good thing. You know, we don't need to see everything or know everything before you see the fucking movie.
Sometimes the internet is evil. It's evil.
It's been evil all day. Actually, it's always been evil. Who am I trying to? Whatever. So I'm gonna jump in here with my number 10. It's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare. Sheriff Lee Brackett, portrayed by Charles Cyphers. This list was difficult. I'm going to come into this immediately and say,
so hard.
Because when you go down the list, like if you physically look at a list of every single character in this entire series, you're like, wow, there's a lot to pick from. Now, I feel like I would have had an easier choice in doing top 10 worst characters. we wanted to celebrate the franchise for our countdown to Halloween kills. But what can be said about Sheriff Lee Brackett that hasn't been said? I mean, Halloween would not be what it is without him. He's there to accompany Dr. Loomis, to hear all of those crazy, wild-eyed stories. Yep. You know, he, in part 2, has to endure the death of his daughter. So this whole thing, without him to kind of push the story along, Halloween wouldn't really be what it is. And he's there for Laurie to bump into for a jump scare, but also to give and deliver one of the most iconic lines in horror history.
For sure.
So,
and he was just such like an everyday dad. You know what I mean? He just had that vibe. You could tell he was a good
And those
guy.
chops!
Yeah.
Those huge fucking chops, man.
Beautiful.
He had those 70s chops.
Beautiful 70s sideburns, man.
Also, he blames everything on kids. Yeah. So that's definitely a 70s dad, right?
Aren't you gonna be late? He shouts, too.
I said, aren't you gonna be late? Yeah. No.
I love
girls.
Sheriff Brackett.
Yeah, so,
I love Sheriff Brackett.
He had to make it on here because if I didn't include him, it would have been criminal. So that is my number 10.
That's awesome, man.
On to you, Jeremy, for your number 9.
I'm going Tommy Doyle, Paul Rudd, H6, baby.
Oh!
I love it, dude. I love it. I love the way that he portrayed the character. You know, he had this, you know, this very seriousness. I mean, he was falling. He knew Michael was still out there. He delivered some great lines. I loved when he hit Michael, and then Michael kind of turned and looked at him, and he kind of had this like this nervous smile. Do you remember that?
I do.
I love that, man. I love that. Of course, I would have preferred Brian Andrews back reprising his role. At that point, he wasn't a working actor, and they actually looked for him, and they could not locate him when they were looking to make the movie. They ended up casting a unknown actor at the time, Mr. Paul Rudd. I enjoy it for what it is, man. I think it was great, and I think there's a reason he's gone on to become a huge Hollywood star.
Well, I mean, he got clueless while he was doing this movie, but I can't tell you how, because I think he's absolutely fucking terrible in Halloween 6. He would have been like in my top 3 worst characters, because I think, well, it's hard to decipher that because we're talking about characters, not performances specifically. Sure. But it's cool to see him getting some love, but I absolutely cannot stand his performance in that movie. As an adult, as a kid, I loved him, but give me a doctor now. Okay, dude, we'll get you a doctor. You don't need to yell. We're right here. But that's cool, man.
I love it, man. I love him in this movie, and I think he's great. What's funny is I'm in these, these horror figure collector groups on Facebook and stuff, right? Like, of course I am. And somebody took like an Ant-Man, like
the Ant-Man head,
and made
the Marvel Legends,
and made a Tommy Doyle H6 like
look at
figure,
that.
and I thought it was great, man. I thought it was great.
I got to tell you, one of the most heartwarming things on social media that I've seen in the last couple of years of conventions was when he actually started doing conventions, and you'd see like lines of people with Ant-Man shit, and then scattered in between Halloween 6 shit, and people like so excited, like people dressed up as the Shape from Halloween 6 and a professional photo op with him, and he's dealing with it. He's all cool. He's smiling and shit.
One of my good friends, Curtis Zamfoti,
I know Curtis.
Yeah, he wore his H6 shirt to the photo op and to the show, and when Paul Rudd saw his shirt, he looked at him and pointed and goes, "Michael's work is not done here in Haddonfield." And my buddy said that like he was so stoked.
That's amazing to see him do that. I mean, we know that the rumor was there was a possibility of Blumhouse getting him for Halloween Kills. They tried. It was a possibility, but it did not happen. But that would have been interesting.
That would have been cool.
It also would have confused the fuck out of people that are unaware of the timeline continuity and all that. But whatever, still would have been cool.
Yeah.
Great pick.
Thanks, man.
So I don't know how many people can love the Halloween series without loving this character. He got a mention on our top 10 kills list, but Amazing Grace, come sit on my face. Don't make me cry. I need your pie. It is Vincent Bud Scarlatti, portrayed by Leo Rossi. What can be? I mean, I just watch the movie.
A couple years ago, I made a post that I was like, Rob Zombie's Halloween movies get a lot of shit for the dialogue, but I mean, have you ever seen Halloween 2 and the character of Bud? Have you ever seen Halloween 2 and the character of Bud and actually like really paid attention to that dialogue? What the fuck? And then it was Sean Clark or somebody like commented, and they were like, "Man, nah, like I knew people that were like that. Like I had friends in high school that talked like that and did stuff like that." And then it got me thinking, and man, I had a friend named Vic in high school that was the same exact way. He was vulgar.
Yeah.
He said whatever he was thinking of at that exact moment. He didn't care who would upset or who would offended. And it made me realize, you know what? You're right. People like that exist. I was friends with someone just like that.
I'm kind of like Bud, or at least I used to be. If any of our listeners, if any of our listeners, yeah, for sure, have been listening to this show since the beginning, what the fuck I'm talking about. So Bud became an EMT. Bud is very sexual, and he's very prone to crude language, very much so. He don't give a fuck.
Nope.
So I love the story behind the scenes, how he really had to fight for this part. It was Rick Rosenthal who fought for him to be in the movie because of the fact that Deborah Hill did not want him in the movie. There's, an obvious reason for that. Haddonfield, Illinois is in the middle of fucking the United States, right? And Bud's obviously like a New York, New Jersey guy, right? So it makes total sense.
Did you know that he directed that John Travolta Gotti movie? A little fun fact for you.
Are you telling me that Bud himself directed that?
Yeah, and like that movie was like critically like shat on. Like some people have said it's one of the worst movies ever made, even worse than Battlefield Earth. But Leo Rossi,
which honestly isn't even that bad to begin with. But you know what? Now because of that, Jeremy, is there a 4K Ultra HD of that? There probably is. I'm gonna buy that shit tomorrow. I'm gonna make sure he signs that shit.
Dude, yeah, yeah.
But no. So moving on here, on to your next pick.
So my number 8 pick is Officer Hawkins from Halloween 2018. This is another Halloween 2018 pick for me.
Wow, man. Showing the love,
dude.
Showing the love.
I really, really, really loved Officer Hawkins. Played by Will Patton. Will Patton has been around for a long time, man. Remember the Titans, Punisher with Thomas Jane, and so on and so forth. He's an incredible actor, and he really brought some class to Halloween 2018. And the thing that I loved about him is that he had a character that had some backstory, some history to him, that you can tell that he was still haunted by that Halloween from 1978 where they arrested Michael Myers in this timeline. And he was just fantastic. I mean, you know, after the gas station murders happened and he was there, like, he gets lost in a moment, like, with his brain wheel spinning, that you could tell that they didn't even have to show it. He went back in his mind to that night and thought, man, if I would have killed him, none of this would have happened. Like, these people that I just saw their dead bodies would still be alive. That's something that haunts him to this day, is that he could have taken the shot. And that's why, spoiler alert, when him and Sartain are driving, he makes sure, he was like, this time I'm fucking killing him. And I just thought he was absolutely fantastic. And
I just wish he wasn't wasted.
He was wasted, man. He was wasted.
He was.
And he
great potential.
He could have been, you know, obviously Laurie is the new Dr. Loomis. Let's be real. She's the one that's now obsessed with Michael Myers and wants to hunt him down and wants to kill him. But that could have been Hawkins, man, because he had the backstory with it. He's the guy that could have taken the shot and ended it all, and he didn't. And because of him sparing Michael Myers, these horrible things are happening. So I love Officer Hawkins. He was wasted, but he was fantastic. So that's my number 8, man.
I'm actually very surprised at that pick. And ladies and gentlemen, you guys know that me and Jeremy never discuss these picks leading up to the actual episode, so we don't even know what the two of us. Well, sounds like Michael Myers is on the hunt out there and might have slashed someone in your neighborhood. Holy shit, man! Hope everyone's okay over there. But moving on to my number 8. Mom, I am not responsible for you. That's it. I've had enough. I can't take it anymore, Mom. He's dead. Michael Myers.
Myers is dead. I love it.
Listen, I had to debate this, but John Tate, a.k.a. John Strode, portrayed by Josh Hartnett from Halloween H2O 20 years later, had to make the cut for me. He absolutely did. Think of the performance that Josh Hartnett gives in this movie. And the character himself, this kid's been dealing with this his entire life. He's been dealing with the trauma and his mom's depression.
Alcoholic.
Her medical habits. He's been basically having to, like, take care of her. He just turned 17. All the kid wants to do is go to Yosemite and probably get his dick wet. I mean, what's more relatable than that? You don't see him using drugs. You don't see him. I mean, he's getting some fucking. He steals some booze.
All the drugs.
Charlie steals the booze.
All the drugs was in the faculty when he was Zeke. He was clean in this one.
Which he filmed simultaneously as he was filming this. You can tell because he had the bad hair.
He had the same fucked up hair, bro. But I will tell you that I thought Zeke was so cool, and I thought John Tate / Strode was so cool when I was in high school. Dude, I cut my hair all fucked up.
You fucking did.
I cut my hair all fucked up like his. And, like, I remember at one point, no bullshit, there was a dude named Jimmy. I specifically remember this. That was in one of my classes, and he was like, he said, the fuck happened to your hair? And
well, they could probably ask you the same question now, though.
Yeah, well, I wear hats now. Just not right now, but people can't see me right now. But so I was like, bro, Josh Hartnett, man, the faculty, Halloween H2O, man, like, it's his haircut, and he goes, yeah, it doesn't look good on you. Dude, he was so blunt.
Spoiler alert! Hey, I don't know if anyone noticed or not. It didn't look good on him either. Yeah. But it's hilarious. I love those stories. You know, when you watch the behind the scenes documentary about the making of the movie, which Hartnett did, which was pretty awesome of him to do, considering he's been in so many other big movies, Sin City, you name it. But he cut his own hair, and then he walked around with a beanie on set to, like, smush his hair down anytime they did it, just because he didn't want his character to be like cookie cutter.
Yeah.
He hates his performance in this movie, but you know what? I really like him. He's a good character. I think they could have done a lot more with him, but in terms of his charisma and his chemistry with Jamie Lee Curtis, spot on.
For sure.
Fantastic.
Oh, fantastic.
Absolutely. I love him in the movie, and a lot of people are going to be haters on this choice, but I don't give a fuck. I love that movie, and I think he's fantastic. So that's my number 8.
My number 7 is another outside the box thing that when I was coming up with this list, I surprised myself. My number 7 is Ishmael Cruz, Danny Trejo from Rob Zombie's Halloween. Let's face it, in the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, well, pretty much every Rob Zombie movie is they're littered with just unlikable characters. Like, the people that you're supposed to care about in Rob Zombie's movies most of the time are unlikable characters, which is why, his films are so divisive, because it's like, people can't get behind these films with these characters that they don't like and that they're supposed to care for. However, there are a few characters in Rob Zombie's Halloween and Halloween 2 that are very likable. Only a couple, because like I said, his films take place in a much darker, bleak, grim reality compared to,
a very unfun reality.
A very unfun reality.
Who wants to go there?
I hope life is not like that for Rob Zombie, because Jesus Christ, nobody wants to live there. So, Ishmael Cruz, brilliantly portrayed by Danny Trejo, was the only person who, after Michael was incarcerated, besides his mother, that was good to him, that cared for him. And he went out of his way to let Michael know, like, hey, even though you're in here, you don't have to lose your humanity, even though you're in a cage. Stay in your head. Don't lose yourself. Don't get lost in here. There's still good things that you can be doing for yourself while you're in here. And he was so good to Michael Myers, which was purposeful, right? Because when Michael escapes, he brutally kills Ishmael, which is it is a gut punch when you watch that movie, because this is the one person, he's a likable guy. He just wanted to be good to this kid that's been locked up ever since he was a child, and gets brutally, like, it's a long death scene too, man.
Yeah, it's a little gratuitous, and I don't know if that was Zombie really just trying to push forward his version of pure evil, because we know that his version of Michael Myers is not the Shape. He is just something completely different. But it did hurt, and I was like, was that really, kill someone that we want to see get murdered? Yep. But honestly, I love this choice. I love him in that movie.
He's great.
And I think it's one of his best performances. It really is.
And on another note, Danny Trejo could make the fuck out of some tacos, man. Trejo's tacos, bro.
I know. When we went to LA, that was number 1 on my list for places to try. And we were hoping he would show up. He did not show up. But we actually, it was the same night that I went to go see the Halloween 78 locations down the street off Hollywood Boulevard. And we went there for dinner beforehand to meet one of Danielle's friends, and we had tacos there. They were fantastic.
Dude, really
I got a
good
t-shirt and shit. And
oh yeah,
it was amazing. But
really
he's fantastic. I love him in everything. But
too.
he rarely gets options to do performances where he can show a little nuance, a little bit more character than just the guy. Hey, Machete's fucking awesome. Make no mistake. But no, great pick, man. He's fantastic in the movie.
Dude, he's like my height too, man. I don't know if you know that.
I've never met him in person.
Dude,
he's on my list if I ever get the chance.
He's like my height, like maybe like a little bit taller, but not much, dude. Like, they make him look huge in movies.
So does that mean like he gets little people pay when he does movies?
It's possible. It's possible, man. I remember the first time I met him, like, he was the reason that I went to this convention in New Jersey, and literally, like, as soon as I parked my car, it was like early in the morning, and I got out of my car, he was literally walking past my car. And I was like, hey, man. He was like, oh, hey, how's it going? And we just started talking. I was like, dude, I literally came here.
That was a good impression.
Was that good?
You sounded just like him, actually.
Yeah, dude.
And I don't think you tried either. I think you just came out
naturally. It's just how I remember him talking to me. But he was like, I told him, I was like, dude, I came all the way here to meet you, and literally you're the first person that I see here. And he was like, oh, that's awesome. So we, like, took a picture together and shit, like, right in the hotel lobby. Like, that was back before celebrities were like, you owe me $40 for that photo on your primitive fucking flip phone, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, for me, and not to go too long on that, but my first impression of him was from one of my favorite movies of all time, Cannon's Death Wish 4, The Crackdown, which he gets burned alive and blown up in a restaurant, but he's a dummy when he dies. But it's okay.
Thank God.
But Charles Bronson does pour, a glass of water in his face for real. So it's pretty awesome. But yeah, so great pick, dude. So moving on to my number 7, we're getting down there here. Hey, jerk, speed kills.
Yes.
Annie Brackett, portrayed by Nancy Loomis.
I love her.
Which at the time was Tommy Lee Wallace's wife.
Yep.
Halloween, the original, the classic.
I love it, dude.
What's not to say? I mean, she is one of the most important characters of the series. She's part of the main 3 of our main characters,
babysitters, man,
that we follow through with in the original Halloween. There are things to say that may be negative in terms of these characters, but for the most part, Annie's just a fun character. I don't think she's all that smart, to be honest with you. I mean, she does some really dumb shit, but you gotta love her. You really do. I think that she's supposed to be the smart character of the group.
Yeah, she is.
She's not Linda, but with the whole, she gets her shit all
she's
messy.
A smart ass,
she's
dude.
doing laundry, but she is the smart alecky one of the group, and I absolutely love her. So,
dude,
she had to make the list. Yeah. Man. I mean, you can't make this list without. If I had not included her on this list, I think it would be kind of sacrilegious. Yeah. I don't know what's on the rest of your list, but sure. I mean, and even though it's not relevant because this is not the kills countdown, but her kill, which did not make either of our lists, is one of the best of the series, even though it was never mentioned.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, Paul. I can't sing. You can sing.
My keys. Oh, Paul.
There it is.
Oh,
yeah.
please.
I just go. That's all I do. But yeah, so
dude,
that's my number 7, man.
Good pick. Rolling right along. Keep rolling. Baby. Number 6 is yeah. Now I know y'all be loving this 6 right here. It's Ronnie LL Cool J from Halloween H2O.
Holy fuck, dude! I swear to you that Danielle told me your list is not complete unless you have LL Cool J on it. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. I just like, no. She's like, I asked her, I said, before I put John Tate on the list, she's like, I'd put LL Cool J on there before him.
Dude, he was just such a likable character, man. I mean, he had some great dialogue. He was another one.
Voluptuous melon
breasts.
But you have to have the S and the T. Breasts.
He was another one, man. Much like Julian from Halloween 2018. LL Cool J really, really chewed up the scenery and was a scene stealer, man. I mean, when he let John and his friends leave campus for an off-campus lunch, and he got caught by Jamie Lee Curtis's character, and just his look when he got caught, when John walked past, hilarious.
Eyes up, Ronnie. Yeah, eyes up, Ronnie.
Yeah,
and he's like,
dude, so.
I love when he tells, back to the hair thing, I love when he's like, fix your hair.
Comb your hair.
Yeah, comb your hair.
Dude, so good, man. I love Ronnie. It doesn't matter how many times I watch that movie. I laugh every single time. And at the end, he's like, I'm writing a romance thriller, whatever he says, man. Like, I love his character so much.
Isn't it great that he lives in that movie too?
Dude.
Because he's set up to die. You think he's dead, and then at the end of the movie, he's alive.
I feel like maybe that was like their whole intention with his character. And then once he started filming, they were like, "Oh shit! Like, nah, let's not do that." Like he's killing it, and the audience will be pissed.
Yeah, he's the Deputy Dewey of the movie in a way, because in the original Scream, that he was supposed to be dead, and they're like, "We kind of like this character. Let's have a scene at the end where we show that he's alive."
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing.
Perfect.
Yeah, and that's a character that, even though we don't discuss Halloween Resurrection on this show, and I don't intend to on any occasion unless I'm paid to do so, or unless I'm told I can get extremely hammered while I discuss it. That's a character that could have returned. You know what I mean? Like, he's a really good character in the series, and I think one of the first actual African American main characters of the entire series. Yeah. Am I right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
For sure. He had to make my list, man. it had to be done. So that was my number 6.
And for me, moving on to my number 6. Oh yeah, I catch you groping my daughter. I'll use that shotgun on you. Sheriff Ben Meeker, portrayed by Bo Starr in Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers. This is one of my favorite characters of the whole entire series. I think he's fucking amazing.
He is.
Dude, he portrays this very classic sense of machismo, but at the same time, you can see he's scared by what's happening to his little town. They have this small, quiet little version of Haddonfield. It's 10 years later after the massacre that Michael Myers ensued on the town, and he's just like taken aback by this. Like, Loomis breaks through the police door and he's like, you know, this is how many bodies I've seen on the way from Ridgemont to here. Like, this is what's happening. And he has to endure and deal with this.
It's a shit show, yeah.
And, like, he does a kick-ass job of dealing with it.
Yeah.
I think. I think in terms of characters, he just has so much nuance. Like, I think Bo Starr really portrayed this as like a real guy. It doesn't feel like, you know, an over-the-top police
like
character.
a phony phoned-in character.
Yeah, it feels like a very real guy. And you could tell he legitimately cares about his town. He legitimately cares about, you know, his daughter. I don't know what happened there, like if he was divorced or not, because he's got his daughter, Kelly, who's, you know, cops do it by the book, baby. We all know her, you know. Just saying. I'm sure a lot of the town folk know all about her in that fireplace.
And the book.
Just saying.
And the book.
But, yeah, I mean, Brady was starting to learn about it, but it gotten, you know.
Yep.
He got thrown a magazine, and you just sit there and pretend, boy. But no, I just love this character, and this is a character that I think, again, we know that like the original ending of Halloween 4, he was supposed to have like a battle in the attic, or excuse me, in the basement rather, with Michael Myers, which never got shot and never happened, but would have been really cool to see because he was a big guy. So I just love Bo Starr in this movie. I just love this character. I just think,
great pick,
you know, a great predecessor from Lee Brackett.
Yeah, absolutely. So. You know, Quentin Tarantino loves Halloween 4. He's gone on record many, many times as saying that movie was way better than it had any right being for being a part 4 in a horror series. And that seems to be the consensus with a lot of fans, you know. Halloween 4 is beloved.
It's always been one of mine, and you know I'll defend it. I can't wait for the new Shout Factory 4K Ultra HD, and I'm definitely. I mean, I've got tickets for the quote unquote Thorn trilogy on 35mm at the Colonial Theater in Phoenixville next month.
Lucky.
I'm going by my fucking self because I don't give a shit.
Yeah, dude.
Halloween 4.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
I've already seen it on 35, but I mean, I love 4. I think for me, it perfectly captures the essence of the holiday of Halloween.
Oh,
it really does.
Sure.
It does ring true in terms of like a tribute
it
to
feels like Halloween.
The tone and feel of not only that, but just trying to pay respect to, you know, what John Carpenter did with the first movie. So yeah, just
so much so that
tangent, but I don't care.
So much so that Halloween fans are willing to forgive the really shitty mask that was used for Michael Myers in Halloween 4.
You know, these things happen in this franchise, as we know. You know, they can't help it. That's what they got sent, and they dealt with what they had, and that's what we got. But
very much,
it's nowhere near as bad as 5. Moving along here, dude.
Number 5, man. We're halfway there.
So
we're halfway there.
We're gonna take a quick promo break, and then when we come back, we are going to do our top 5 characters of the Halloween series, and I can't wait to see what Jeremy has up his sleeve here. LL Cool J? Wow.
Yeah, boy.
You're pulling him out of your back pocket.
Yeah, boy.
So we will be right back.
Hi, I'm Louie.
And I'm Dave.
Do you love Halloween?
Do you like hearing about it year-round?
Then check out our Haunted Hangover podcast, available on all streaming platforms.
We cover everything from nostalgic memories to your favorite Halloween specials.
Hey Dave, what's the best cure for a hangover?
More booze.
And we are back, and we're going to be counting down our top 5 characters of the Halloween series. This is where it gets hard, Jeremy.
It does. It does.
It's going to be
it
hard.
It is, man.
This is the tough part. I mean, because, and like you said before we started this countdown, we made the conscious effort to not include the top legacy characters like Dr. Loomis and Laurie Strode. And, I mean, Michael Myers to an extent,
sure.
Yes. But
people show up for that guy.
I mean, even though I consider Michael Myers more of an entity than an actual character, when he starts out as a character and then kind of morphs into just this force of nature. Yep. But this was a very interesting countdown, so I hope you guys are enjoying it. I'm going to pass it off to my boy Jeremy here, man. It's time for your number 5.
Number 5 is John Strode, or John Tate from Halloween H2O. So my number 6 was Ronnie, and number 5, it's just how it landed, was John Tate, John Strode. I like I said earlier,
showing up much higher on your list, man.
Like, dude, I wanted to be this character, man. I wanted to be John Tate. I wanted to be Zeke from The Faculty. At that point in my life, both of those characters just seemed cool as hell, man. Halloween H2O was the first Halloween movie that I got to see in theaters. I remember...
Me too.
Oh shit, hell yeah. I remember being in Ocean City, Maryland on vacation with my family and me being like, Dad, like, you have to take me to the theaters. Halloween H2O came out tonight. I need to see this movie. I'd already burned through all the other ones, on video from when I was a kid. I was already in love with the franchise and went and saw this in theaters opening night, and goddamn, like, I loved this character. I still do. Had to include him. I mean, he's dealing, like we said earlier, he's dealing with, a mom that has addiction, that has all of this, crazy stuff that happened in her past that's really made her like a kind of a, just a crazy person. Realistically, like, she's so strict, she has so many rules, she doesn't let him do anything because of...
She can't function, and neither can he in his normal teenage life. And you'll get there when your kids are that old. I've got one that is literally that age,
right.
And they're not able to function if you're not able to function yourself.
Yeah. So man, watching that movie as a kid, right, and seeing a teenager that's being stalked by Michael Myers, and it being a character that I was like, man, I'm like invested in this character. I loved it. I loved his performance. And it's better every time I watch it, man. I love Halloween H2O. We've had many discussions. It's my favorite sequel in the entire franchise. And I will
also think of it this way, man. I mean, we're so used to seeing female characters being chased.
That's so true.
Here, it's kind of juxtaposed where now he's, whoever's around him is also getting stalked and slashed at, but he's the main centerpiece here, next to, underneath Laurie, for what Michael Myers is trying to obtain there with his knife.
So true. So that's my number 5. Hit me with your number 5.
Ooh, I totally will. Linda, portrayed by PJ.
I see
Souls.
what you did there.
Yeah, just had to. I mean, I think aside from Loomis, Laurie, Michael Myers, a couple others, PJ stands out here more than anybody else. She had already done Carrie, and what she brings to the Linda character is what most would consider like kind of a ditzy bimbo. But we both know, and a lot of our listeners know, that Deborah Hill wrote the dialogue for all of the girls in the script.
Yep.
And all she was presenting to the audience was a very realistic, likable, and normal girl in the late 1970s. She's a party girl, dude.
Yeah.
We talked about it in our top 10 kills. She just wants to have a good time.
Yep. We can relate. And funny enough is she was dating Dennis Quaid at the time of
she was married to him.
She was married to him.
Fuck. She was married to him.
Wow.
Yeah, she was married to him for a short period. And she tried to get him for the role of Bob, and who's scheduled for something else and couldn't make it. That would have been really interesting. Think about that. Had Dennis Quaid been, I mean, I think that role is interchangeable. Sorry, listeners. Bob didn't make my fucking list here. Just saying.
Well, let's
go ahead. Possible honor. And I was going to say possible honorable mentions, but no. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say, dude, Paul didn't make your list because he said some fucking weird shit in the movie. First, I'm going to rip your clothes off. Then I'm going to rip Lindsay's clothes off. I'm like, whoa, buddy. That's some weird shit you're spouting off right there.
Oh, yeah. So that line has never made sense.
No.
And I've rarely seen a Halloween fan ever actually bring that up and question it. I'm like, who wrote that? Was John like just having too many fucking Budweisers that night? Or was that a line that Deborah, we will never know.
Was it ad-libbed? What the fuck was, I don't know, but it's,
you know what? It probably was ad-libbed. It sounds like it was actually a mistake, to be clear. It was probably just, he misspoke and they kept it, because every time I watch it, every year I'm like, why would you rip off the clothes
of a child?
Of a young female child when you're talking about sexual acts?
Yeah, Bob. Get the fuck out of here, Bob. Motherfucking Bob.
Well, Bob gets his. He talks that shit, and he gets pinned, bro.
Right.
He's that kitchen ornament. But no, I mean, dude, Linda's one of the most likable, lovable characters. You know that I haven't met PJ yet. She's the only one of...
No shit.
She's the only one of the babysitters that I haven't met yet.
She's
around
the most.
I know. She goes around the most, and every time I've tried to get her. So
that's funny.
I just love her.
That's funny.
She's an absolute sweetheart. And I think if we're going to compare here, I think she has some of the most iconic scenes, like See Anything You Like.
So much so, it's featured in Scream.
Yeah. I mean, she's there, so who can't love Linda? Fright Rags even did a shirt just for her that says "Totally." She's amazing. I love PJ Souls and everything, but
she's the nicest.
She's definitely,
when you do meet her, she's the nicest person you can meet. She genuinely loves the fact that she was in this movie. She's a part of horror film history, with not only with Carrie but with this film. Halloween has gone on to become arguably the most famous horror film, one of the most famous horror films of all time, arguably,
I'd say top 5.
Oh, for sure.
I'd say top 5. Yeah.
And when you meet her, when you do, I mean, you'll understand that she loves it. She truly loves her fans. She loves going to these events, and she loves being a part of it even after all of these years. So that's a great pick, man. I'm rolling through to number 4. Sheriff,
what is it? What do you got, baby?
You ready? It's about to get interesting.
I'm ready.
Sheriff Brackett, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so Chucky's gonna get some love tonight, right?
Yeah, dude. So Brad Dourif as Lee Brackett in Rob Zombie's Halloween, much like Ishmael Cruz, the character that Danny Trejo portrayed. Lee Brackett in Rob Zombie's Halloween films is one of the only likable characters out of his entire 2-film story arc of all of the characters of Halloween. I mean, the reason I said Halloween 2 is because here's a guy that his daughter was almost murdered. She's got the scars to prove it. He's now raising Laurie Strode, who her brother is the one that almost killed his daughter. But so everyone in that house is kind of damaged, and he's just this dad that's trying to do right by these girls, and he's trying to be, just this support system for those 2 girls, and he wants them to still have a normal childhood, the best that they can, a young adulthood, should I say. And I mean, just the scene of them eating the pizza in Halloween 2, god damn, he's just so likable. And Brad Dourif breathed such likability and charisma into this character. I mean, and he's still that goofy dad, because us dads are goofy. We say some stupid shit from time to time, and he's like,
you'll prepare yourself for the eye rolls.
Oh yeah,
that's all I get now.
I feel like I'm getting that now in my kids'
No matter how
5.
good I try, no matter what, I'll get like a laugh, like a very quiet laugh, and
yeah.
Okay. All right.
He's at this table eating the pizza, and he's like, "Who's starving Marvin? And why why was Marvin starving? Why couldn't somebody just give Marvin some food? And like, this stupid dad humor and all this stuff. And he was just a really, really likable character. And you know, say what you will about Rob Zombie's 2 Halloween films, you cannot deny that.
Shit!
But that's fine. And your consensus is much like most horror fans, is that they don't appreciate Rob Zombie's Halloween, and that's cool. And I understand that completely. But
you aren't wrong though. You aren't wrong here, man.
Strong performance from Brad Dourif, man. I mean, we got some One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest Brad Dourif in this. Like, I feel like he gave 110%.
Yeah.
My opinion.
I honestly can't. I can't disagree with you in terms of his performance or that version of the character. I do find that it's strange that you chose that version of the character over the original, but that's what makes this interesting. I like it.
Writing this list, man. So, like I said, some of these, you know, as I started analyzing each film on its own, and I'm like, okay, well, what characters do I really, you know, lean into when I watch these films? And some of the names on my list, I was like, man, I can't deny this character. I love this character in this particular film, and they made my list. So let me get your number 4, man.
Yeah. Jeremy, you didn't really know much about Halloween. You thought no further than the strange custom of having your children wear masks and go out begging for candy. Connell Cochran, portrayed by Dan O'Herlihy from Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
Dan O'Herlihy!
One of the most menacing characters in the entire series. If not the most menacing, next to the Shape himself. The Silver Shamrock Novelties CEO. The man they called the all-time genius of the Practical Joker. I mean, in getting him to be in this movie, this was another Donald Pleasance moment for, you know, the filmmaking team, to get someone that had that gravitas, that had been around the block in Hollywood, and that could give some name brand recognition to the movie. He oozes fucking terror in his performance. He is absolutely like, I mean, when you watch the movie, he is so like calculating in everything he does. He's got that smile, which looks like he could be ready to rip your fucking head off at any moment. And I know that Halloween 3 gets a lot of shit from a lot of the, you know, the Myers.
Not anymore, man.
I know on the other side there that now it's a big seller. It's like, it's the in thing to like it. But
it blows my mind that when me and you were growing up, Halloween 3 was a skid mark, right? It was like don't watch that. There's no Michael Myers in it. Yeah, don't touch it.
Don't touch it.
Now you go into fucking Target and there's action figures for Halloween 3. Why?
I got them right there on display right behind me.
Beautiful.
You know, it's
because they're popular now. So guess what? They're making action figures because those make money, because Halloween 3 is popular. Now, it's the instant fall, and then 20-year later rise of this film, 30-year later rise of this film is just it's really interesting. And I think that your pick is it's a great pick, and he was for sure absolutely menacing.
I mean, you got to think about in terms of performances and character. I just think probably one of the most underappreciated of the entire series. They knew what they had in front of him, and he was just, you know, giving his best. And also, one of my favorite things is not only the fact that Dan O'Herlihy knew, because of his background, the real culture and history of the season of Halloween and, you know, Samhain, but the character is written that way.
Dan O'Herlihy!
So he's explaining it, and this is the first time on film, Jeremy, ever, where like the actual origin of Samhain is mentioned with a true tribute to what the history really is. Not just giving away candy and, you know, giving back to the spirits to show appreciation. There are a lot of different things that kind of melded together, you know, over thousands of years to create this holiday that we all love so much. And I love that was implemented and slightly ignored by moviegoers for so long. But I think that's why, as you just said a few moments ago, that so many fans now, take to it so well and really get attached to it, because it does have the true spirit of the holiday peppered throughout it, like with true love, dignity, and of course, the history. And O'Hurley, he brought that in the fucking spades. I mean, when you watch him on the screen, he's just so commanding. You can tell he's the big wig. He's the big guy. He's the Donald Pleasance of that movie. So I had to have.
There's so much fantastic, just horrific horror movie imagery in Halloween 3, man. I'm glad that you mentioned somebody from H3, and I'm glad that this movie is now, all these years later, finally getting the love that it deserves, man. I'm gonna go for it, man. I mean,
you and I both have like fucking button-up shirts with like the pattern of all three masks all over it. I'm about to get one of the fucking masks tattooed on me and shit. I mean,
hell yeah.
It is that movie. So yes,
fantastic.
Show love to Halloween 3. But yeah, moving on, man.
Number 3.
Yeah.
So
top 3.
Number 3 for me is Jimmy, played by Lance Guest in Halloween 2. I feel like I can relate to Jimmy in Halloween 2. He's that good guy.
Poor
Jimmy. He's that good guy. There's a girl that he's interested in. He's kind of shy, but he's also at his job. He's trying to do a good job, despite all this crazy shit that's going down in Haddonfield. And, he's just, I feel like a lot of the things that he does at that age, I probably would have done. Like, okay, so like, even though this like girl almost got murdered by a serial killer tonight, like, I'm going to go sneak into her hospital room. And, how romantic was it? He was going to bring her a Coca-Cola.
Yeah, he was going to give her a Coca-Cola.
Excellent beverage choice. And, this was another, talking about characters that were supposed to bite the dust, that they kind of saw something in the character and said, well, maybe we shouldn't kill him, is Jimmy. Was it the TV edit that they brought him back in at the end in the ambulance?
That was the original ending.
Okay.
The original ending was he was under the sheet and Lori wakes up in the back of the ambulance and she thinks that could possibly be Michael Myers, and the sheet just rolls off his head, and you obviously it's unveiled that it's just Jimmy. But I think John Carpenter, when he came in and did all of his edits and reshot footage and, made it more John Carpenter-ish, just focused the shot on Lori. And they made the right choice in doing that, because you didn't really need that. But I never even, in the theatrical cut of the movie, I never think that Jimmy's dead.
No.
What, because he slips and falls
hits
and hits his head? And then he comes out to the car and passes out. He's
got a concussion.
He ain't dead.
He's got a concussion.
Did you see him get stabbed, maimed, decapitated, butchered, fucking thrown into a fire, blown up by a bomb, shot by a machine gun? Nope. Then he's probably still alive.
To go on a little ranty poo right here, Halloween Halloween 2 is interesting. So I'm reading a book. It's John Carpenter, Prince of Darkness, and it's weird because it's not an autobiography. It's literally a long form written interview with the person who is writing the book and John Carpenter, and so it's just these two going back and forth throughout this book. And John Carpenter gets really in depth on Halloween 2. He goes, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a director. And when I took on the producer role, the writer and producer role of Halloween 2, he goes, I wanted to let the director do his thing. And he goes, and that's exactly what I did, like I wasn't breathing down Rick Rosenthal's throat. He goes, I let him make his movie, and it was the movie that I had written. And he goes, man, I have to tell you that when I got delivered that first cut, John was really candid in this book. He goes, I was very unhappy. And essentially I told him, okay, here's my notes. These things don't work. You need to go back and fix them. Do another edit of the film. He goes, so they ended up hiring this other editor and brought him in.
Yep. Yeah, it was the editor that was working on the TV cut of the first Halloween where they were adding in all the additional scenes they had shot, right?
Yep. So
yeah.
they re-edited the movie a second time and brought it to Carpenter and brought it to the studio, and Carpenter was like, I don't know how they did it, but somehow it was fucking worse. He goes, so at that point, Carpenter essentially, he was like, I had to do something that I would have never wished to do, because he goes, I would hate it if it would have ever happened to me. He goes, I essentially had to go, move, and like move. He essentially booted Rick Rosenthal to the side. John Carpenter himself went out and shot more horrific.
And Rick didn't know this.
No.
And I'm not gonna, cut you off or anything, but this is definitely something that we're gonna elaborate on a lot deeper, because, ladies and gentlemen, be prepared. It's the 40th anniversary this year of Halloween 2. Yeah. You best believe the end of October we're giving you a full retrospective. Oh, yeah. But very much so. I'm interested in this so much because when they did the interviews for the Halloween 2 documentary for the box set for Scream Factory, John did not participate. He opted out of those discussions.
Yep. And so, I just from the tone, I mean, the book was written a long time ago, the one that I'm reading right now. In fact, I had no idea the book itself has gone up so much in value, because I got it several years ago, and then I told one of my buddies about it, and he was like, Jesus Christ, it's going for like $150 now for this book. So I don't think there's any love there still all these years later between Rick Rosenthal and John Carpenter, which is probably why Carpenter opted out of doing any kind of thing on it. So yeah, just really interesting. But yeah, my number 3 was Jimmy. I just thought that I would mention some of this stuff because I'm reading this book right now.
Yeah, and I can't wait to elaborate and go so much deeper on that movie. I'll so be ready, excited, man, to do the 40th anniversary for Halloween 2. Yes. But we're not real sisters, Jamie. My number 3, Rachel Carruthers. I had to put Rachel on here. She's not Jamie. Nope. But I had to put Rachel on here.
I contemplated putting her on my list too, and I was like, you know what? She's a lead-ish character. I respect your decision 100%. I'm not arguing.
It was hard.
It was hard.
We made it hard. I made it hard. We made it hard. So
I get it.
So of course, yes, omitting Jamie is one thing because she is definitely one of my favorite characters.
She's the final
Rachel,
girl.
I mean, Rachel, one of the most likable characters. She has one of the biggest character arcs in the later movies. She starts out very selfish, only concerned about her own future children and her date with Brady. But even that line I said, she's a cold-hearted bitch. She tells her foster sister, we're not real sisters, Jamie.
Bitch.
But then quietly says, but that doesn't mean I love you any less. But she said the other part way louder. She's a little girl, man. She's only going to hear that. Just saying. Yeah. Rachel, you shouldn't have been such a fucking bitch. Don't be offering ice cream and shit and Halloween costumes after you say that. It doesn't make up for it. But I love the character of Rachel Carruthers. She is a hero in this movie. She learns very quickly that her role as a foster sister is way more important than she had originally conceived. Yep. She has to face the shape face to face. She has to actually, like, on the top of a roof, man. Like in the other movies, scene. Of course, they're getting chased, around the house and such. Dude, she has to fight him off on the roof of a house. What's more heroic than that? She falls like, 2 stories off this beautiful house, which was a set built in a field. But just saying, Ellie Cornell did a brilliant job with her performance as the character. And I think this character is fantastic. The chemistry between Ellie and Jamie is beautiful. I think they feel like real family members. They feel very intimate in terms of like how they interact with each other. And that came from them being on set every day with one another and being in, the same trailer and really bonding over this experience. It was, Danielle Harris's first movie. And I've always had an affinity and a true love for the Rachel character. I mean, what they go through together is complete brutality, man. I mean, by the end of the movie, a scene that showed up on our top 10 kills list when the dude's face gets ripped right off and they witness that and Rachel just takes the wheel like a fucking badass. Yeah. She actually...
Like the Ripley character to Newt. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the first character that we ever see, like, hit the shape with a car. Like, she's a pure fucking badass, man. Like,
she didn't deserve
also,
what happened to her in Halloween 5.
Well, notice that not a single fucking thing on my list from Halloween 5, and it will never happen unless it's a worst of list. Just saying. I'm fucking pumped for the 4K and to see, the original opening included as a special feature. There's things that can be said.
Is that being released into stores too? Or is that like an online only kind of dealio?
I'm pretty sure Target's going to have
All right,
those.
good, because I'll grab them from there. I wasn't going to do a pre-order or anything like that on this, and I won't go into all that stuff. But yeah, I'll pick them up in store.
But I mean, you got to think though. Like I said here, she's just a teenager, just another teenage character, which is the norm in the Halloween series, and she just wants to have a good date, man. She is the girl next door for real. I mean, you can tell she's not promiscuous. She's not a bad person. She acts a little selfish, but what teenager isn't? That's just kind of, that's how they act. So, I mean, the sisterhood that she has by the end of the movie, the character arc, it's so well written and so well performed by Ellie Cornell. I just love this character.
Dude, I got to tell you a funny story about her real quick. Is so now, she's retired from acting, and she does paintings. Like that's what
I remember, because I was, you offered for me to like go try to meet her at her house or something.
No, not her house. Not her house.
Where was it? It was somewhere. It was some event or something like that for painting.
So she had a shop in a certain place. I'm not going to say, out of respect for her, I'm not going to say where the shop was, but there was a thing was like, oh, well, like maybe we could just go to her shop and meet her. And then once I emailed her, we were talking. I was like, hey, like because her artwork is really cool, man. And so I was like, hey, I really dig your artwork, and like, and on her website it said she took commissions, so she was cool. She was talking with me, and then when she was like, well, what are you looking to get done? And I was like, dude, wouldn't it be cool? In my head, I was like, wouldn't it be cool to get like a Halloween type piece, not necessarily like a portrait of Michael Myers or anything, but even like just something Halloween season. Painted by
like some, like a nice fall pumpkin.
Exactly.
Some leaves flowing behind it or
something
right?
painted by, Ellie Cornell, Rachel Carruthers. And the moment that I mentioned anything Halloween, bro, it stopped the conversation real quick. Like she was like,
bye,
bye.
Yeah, you were out of there.
That's
unfortunate.
Yeah, no, but
no,
she's cool, man. I get it. When people, they do a second career. It's like, dude, they don't want to go back and have to delve into the previous career. They made the determination of like, no, I'm doing something different now. So I get it. So no hurt feelings there. She didn't want to paint a pumpkin for me. I
would still absolutely kill to meet her.
Yeah, man. I'm hoping that, it was surprising that she wasn't at the 40th anniversary. But who knows, man? Maybe the 45th anniversary. Who knows? So number two.
I saw something that night. I don't know. Your father came into the hospital. I thought he was crazy, out of his mind. He's hanging onto a Halloween mask. He wouldn't let it go. And what he said was, they're going to kill us all. In a little while, he was dead. And I don't know what the hell is going on. You knew I was going to include this. If you didn't, well,
it had to be done.
You should be surprised.
It had to be done.
Dr. Daniel Chalice, portrayed by the Almighty, the God, that is Tom Atkins.
The mustache himself.
And Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
You cut off my number 2, though, bro.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, no, go ahead, though. It's okay.
Oh. Well, you'll have to go after mine.
Yeah, I will.
Okay,
I will.
So, see, this is when we do these lists, we get so
for
deep
sure,
into it.
For sure.
I'm so excited, and I could not wait to mention this one. So you'll do your number 2, I guess, after mine.
I'll do my number 2 after your number 2.
Sorry.
I forgive you, my friend.
I knew that this just had to be included on this list. I mean, who doesn't love
Tom fucking Atkins, man?
Dude, he's a dad of these 2 kids. He ditches them all the time. He was married. Who knows what happened there, but he'd rather spend his Saturday mornings drinking liquor at the local pub.
Yeah, sounds about right.
What better character than that
sounds
to make
right.
your number 2? I mean, considering who it's coming from, Like, whose mouth is spouting this? Like, look at me right now. Just saying. I could relate. That's kind of me in a way.
Dude, I don't think anybody else could have played that character, man. Like, Tom Atkins was made to play this role that he didn't even get any love for until past 10 years, man.
Well, I'd say probably like 15.
You think 15-ish? Maybe that's when the tides start to turn.
Maybe. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, in knowing how much love he's getting, like on our Twitter the other day, I just did like hashtag Tom Atkins appreciation post.
Dude, yes.
And it was the most love we've gotten on our Twitter like all week. Like, you can tell people are really all about showing him some love in his performances, particularly in this movie. Obviously, Night of the Creeps, Creep Show, you know, you name it. Even the My Bloody Valentine remake.
Fantastic.
The Fog. He's brilliant in everything he does. He's one of those character actors that just had that specific look. Man, I mean,
he was an every man's man.
Maniac Cop.
Yeah.
He had the potential. It's unfortunate that he didn't do more, because he had that look, man, that was like so 80s.
Every man's
that
man.
Was so
He was just a normal dude. So when I met Tom Atkins, it wasn't the first time, but it was maybe the second or third time, because when Tom Atkins shows up to something, it doesn't matter how many times you've met him, you go and you meet him again.
That's why I'm going to meet him again this week.
So am I. I'll be there meeting him a fourth or fifth time, however many times it's been now. But it was one of the times that I met him, I was actually getting my Halloween 3 poster signed by him. And as soon as I placed my poster down on his table, he sang me, and this is no bullshit, I'll put my hand to the Bible, he sang me the entire Silver Shamrock anthem. Like, the whole thing. 3 more days till Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. 3 more days till Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Dude, the whole thing. And, bro, when Tom Atkins is singing you...
Did your pee-pee get hard?
Still is. It hasn't stopped being hard since he sang that to me.
I don't know anything else that could get my dick more hard.
Dude,
that.
I mean, when Tom Atkins is serenading you, the Silver Shamrock song, you shut the fuck up and you listen and you appreciate it. And that's exactly what I did. So, excellent choice, man.
Yeah, and sorry for cutting you off.
I forgive you.
Our listeners are very aware that I get ahead of myself.
I said number 2, and then all of a sudden you started with some dialogue. I was like, oh, we doing another. I
just heard the number 2,
right
and I was
now.
like, clicking the brain. But
yeah.
Yes, on to your number 2, my friend.
Dude, so this list was very hard, as we've said a few times.
As hard as your dick was after meeting Tom Atkins.
Tom Atkins sang to me.
That fucking hard, yeah.
So, dude, I love this character because they knew what was going on before anyone else. They believed before anyone else believed. That is Tommy Doyle, played by Brian Andrews.
Oh!
I had to, man. I had to. You know, of course, my number 9 was Tommy Doyle, Paul Rudd, and number 2, Tommy Doyle, bro. He knew the boogeyman was real, and he knew the boogeyman was out there, and he knew the boogeyman's going to get ya. Boogeyman's going to get ya.
Get ya. He's going to get you.
I love this performance from Brian Andrews, and, I mean, he's so believable as a kid. You know what happens on Halloween? Yeah. We get candy. Just even the way he delivers the lines, man.
No, the boogeyman. The boogeyman is coming.
Hey, can you read me these? Tarantula Man. I thought this was your favorite. Not anymore.
Motherfucker. Throw that shit.
I love it.
I can understand why.
I love it. And, you know, he was the child's view of evils of Halloween, and that the boogeyman is real.
I couldn't agree more.
Every time I watch the movie, I just appreciate the shit out of Brian Andrews, and I appreciate the shit out of Tommy Doyle. I have to tell you, I know I keep bringing up H40, but it was a couple years ago, and it was a really big deal to me to be there, and I had never met Brian Andrews. So meeting a character that I love so much, you know, or, you know, the the actor that portrayed the character that I love so much was such a big deal to me. So I get to age 40 and dude, Brian Andrews is not at his table. Not at his table. And I'm like, well, his fucking table is here. Like, where is he? I'm like, is he here? And so I started asking some of my friends. I'm like, yo, is Brian Andrews here? And they're like, yeah, he's like just like walking around. And so I'm like, okay. So literally it became a thing where I was like, all right, I'm gonna stop doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna go find this guy. So I'm walking around this humongous Pasadena convention center until I saw him in the hallway. And I said, hey Brian, man, I'm such a big fan of yours. You know, when are you going back to your table, man? I got stuff that I'd like you to sign. And he was like, well, do you have it on you? And I said, yeah. And he goes, take it out, man. I'll sign it for you right now. And he signed my stuff right now. And I'll be truthful about this. And I say this, you know, with a sympathetic and, you know, heavy heart, is that Brian Andrews has had a lot of mental health issues over the years. And he struggles with depression and a lot of these things that plague a lot of people out there today. And, you know, he's kind of had a tough break. You know, he was this child actor that, you know, he did Halloween and he did a handful of other things. And, you know, when you're that age and you're doing these things already, you kind of think that this is going to be your life. And sometimes it doesn't always pan out like that. And he's kind of been going through it. And, you know, when it came to Halloween Kills, they approached him. I don't know if you know this. I don't know if we've had this conversation.
I've heard, you know,
I'm Facebook friends with Brian.
Rumors.
Yeah, I'm Facebook friends with Brian, and like, you know, there was a point where he was posting about it a lot. I guess they had went to him and said, "Hey, you know, we're bringing the Tommy Doyle character back." I think they already had Kyle Richards on deck to return as Lindsay, so of course they were probably like, "Yeah, you know, let's get the original Tommy Doyle back as well." So they reached out to him, and I don't think the conversation went very well. And because of that, they look at the facts and they're like, this is a guy that hasn't been a working actor for years and years and years and years. And it's very obvious that, you know, having a conversation with him or, you know, following his social media, you can't tell me that the film studio wasn't looking at his social media. They could probably see that he had a lot of things going on. I think it would have been a very, very expensive gamble bringing him onto a multi-million-dollar production to reprise his role, and it would have been a risk for them. And I think that they saw it as too great of a risk, and they went with Anthony Michael Hall, who is
great
choice,
yeah.
Man. And he's a working actor, and you know, I'm so sad that Brian's not coming back for Halloween Kills, because getting the original Tommy Doyle and Lindsay Wallace back together on screen would have been fantastic, but
it would have been magic. It would have been magic,
really would.
Unfortunately,
it really would. And
yeah.
you know, I hate to bring the list down by talking about, you know, some of this stuff, but it's just to educate people, man. You know, I've seen people that go on his social media and they're like, "Oh, he's fucking crazy," and I'm like, dude, why do we still have this thing out there today where, you know, like, people can't acknowledge, like, oh no, this person's not crazy. Like, they're going through things. They're going through life. They do have some mental health issues, you know. Instead of being sympathetic and caring, they're like, oh, so dismissive, like he's fucking crazy. So it's like, dude, shut the fuck up, man. You know, like, this is supposed to be and it's the same people that love this franchise that are so quick to dismiss him. So I love
try to understand and be there to, you know, help and support. And that's something that we've always done on this show in terms of any illness, including mental. Yeah. Be there for everybody. Yeah. You know,
man, I
hold them up, man. Especially the people that have been there for you.
Yeah.
This character, you know, and I'm just gonna spoiler alert. This is my number one.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
There it is.
So, but that takes me back, man. That, you know, I have to take a few steps back theoretically and just think, like, that bothers me so much that people would say that about him without even knowing him personally. I
didn't plan on even bringing this up. This was like kind of a spur of the moment thing, and I almost feel myself getting a little emotional.
No, I'm glad you did.
I almost feel myself getting a little emotional talking about it because, you know, Brian Andrews is a great guy. You know, he's so fantastic to his fans. You know, he went out of his way. He signed all my stuff, didn't charge me a thing, and was just so awesome. He's always accessible to his fans, you know, on social media and in different platforms. And he portrayed this character that I love so much. So, it's just one of those things. It's one of the negatives and downfalls of social media is, you when you're out there and you're on these social media platforms, you leave yourself wide open for scrutiny to the public, and so many people, man, that they don't take the time to try and understand things. They're just so dismissive. So, anyways, I figured that I would bring that up, and that's one of the reasons that he's not in Halloween Kills, which I think is a tragedy that he's not, because like I said, he's fantastic and he's a great guy, and that's why he's my number 2, man. Tommy Doyle, Bryan Andrews is my number 2, and he's your number 1.
Yeah, and so since we skipped around and I was too overly excited, I was hearing you talk about hard penises, and then my penis got hard, and then I thought about pumpkin penises, and that's a whole other story. But yes, very much
He did land on a pumpkin.
Everything you said, it's very interesting because, going into these lists, that's what always excites me the most is the idea of how you're going to describe the reason why this character means so much to you. And everything you said was spot on. I mean, we're seeing the movie through the eyes of a young child. The whole interpretation of the boogeyman. I mean, within the first 15 minutes of the movie, without Tommy Doyle, you wouldn't have that whole town legend of, oh, we don't go in there.
That's
a spook house. Yeah, you don't get that without that character being implemented into the story and interacting with Laurie Strode. And the chemistry that those two characters have, that is the movie. Yep. It's about a babysitter and the kid they're babysitting enduring this night of complete terror on Halloween. And he's just as important to the story, I'd have to say, and the film as Laurie Strode or Michael Myers or Linda or Annie or Dr. Loomis. He's the eyes we're seeing through. Especially if you're watching the movie for the first time. I think, Jeremy, you can relate in this. We saw the movie at such a young age. I mean, I was a teenager. I was like 13 or whatever the first time I saw it. But still, you're a youth. So you're seeing the movie through his eyes. So when he's going through this and he looks out the window and he sees the boogeyman, you're seeing it the way that he would. Yeah. You're experiencing it through him vicariously.
And there's nothing creepier than children in peril, right?
Exactly. And they are in very deep, serious peril in this movie. I mean, at the end of the movie, they have to rush out of the house. The Shape is in the house. They rush out, front door screaming. I mean, think about it. You're just sitting there watching old monster movies. You had your candy. You carved your jack-o'-lanterns. But this whole myth of the boogeyman. When you're a kid, it's so much more mythic and important to your childhood. But you're affected so much more differently.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was my number 1.
You know what's funny?
Because of the fact... go ahead.
What's funny is that sometimes you make these lists, right? And in your mind at the time that you're writing them, you're like, yeah, this is my list. But it's also completely possible that while discussing your list, your mind can change, and
things move up and down, man.
I think that I said Tommy Doyle was my number 2, and then having this discussion with you, I think it's completely changed my opinion on my list. And I would, if I could go back, hop in a DeLorean and go back, to about,
Not necessary on this show. We make the rules,
that's true.
So you don't have to.
Well,
do
we're
that.
going. There are no roads.
That's no roads, no rules.
Yeah,
no
man.
Nothing,
so I would have,
stuff.
In hindsight, I should have made Tommy Doyle my number 1. Because I agree with everything that you said.
You might. As
right,
well
I'm gonna make it my. I'm gonna make it.
One, yeah.
I'll make Tommy Doyle my number 1, but on my list, Annie Brackett for me.
What, your original?
My original number 1 is
okay.
Annie Brackett.
Wow,
dude, I love Annie Brackett. Like, she's the kind of girl that I would have gone for, like, when in high school. I love her quick-wittedness. She's a smart ass. She likes to have fun, but she's kind of, narcissistic about certain things. And, I every time I watch this movie, I'm like, I fucking love Annie Brackett. Nancy Loomis, or Nancy Loomis Keys, was just fantastic in the role. And when, as a horror fan, we watch these movies sometimes and we know the outcome. We know who gets it. And I feel like every time I watch this movie, I'm like, I hope for a different outcome. I don't know if you've ever had any
That happens to me so many times.
It's kind of like the movie
So
Alpha
times in so
Dog,
many
right?
movies.
With Anton Yelchin and Emil Hirsch, and you know what happens to Anton Yelchin, but every time I watch that movie, I'm like, oh, don't fucking do it. Don't fucking, fuck. You know, and you know it's coming, and that's how I feel about Annie Brackett, is that, you know, she's the daughter of the town sheriff, and she's just somebody that, you know, you want to take, much like the Laurie Strode character, you want to take care of. You know, Linda is the one that's kind of more mischievous and, you know, has the tropes of the horror victims that it's like, all right, they're setting it up that she's going to get killed.
Yeah, she was the template for basically all of the female victims we saw in slasher movies for the next 5 or 6 years after Halloween.
And
or more.
I really appreciate Nancy Loomis's take on the character.
We just want to thank you all for listening so much to this episode. You are the reason why we do what we do. And if you heard earlier on in the episode, we are still doing that Halloween Kills poster giveaway. So if you like what you're hearing, please leave us a review on iTunes. You can check us out on social media at Epic Film Guys, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're everywhere. And Jeremy, where can they find you if they want to just look at your posters and stuff, you know?
I am on Instagram, JT_pumpkin_guts, GUTZ. But the best place to really get in contact with me is on Facebook. I'm Jeremy Todd Morehead. That's where a lot of my collection stuff is. You know, I share pictures of my autographs, my collection, you know, different conventions that I attend. Yeah, so, you know, find me on the Facebooks, and I'll accept your friend request.
You better get there and do that shit. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much again. And until next time, I'm Justin.
And I'm Jeremy.
And we're asking you to keep it
creepy. Brain stew.